Hello YouTube, and welcome to an absolute first on my channel ever. And I am going to be reviewing kind of a movie, and the movie is called The Hunt, and it came out earlier in this year. I will briefly talk about the plot. I will tell you guys how I enjoyed it, and what I actually really want people to stick around for is I'm going to talk more about what the underlying message is of this movie and how I feel it applies to a lot of my own political stances that I have been kind of discussing on this channel and trying to get people to agree with me on, mostly failing in doing that. But yeah, so anyway, The Hunt takes place in current times, and we start off the movie with basically a group, I think, of about 10 or so individuals waking up in a forest, and they were gagged, and then they find this mysterious box and they open it up and there's weapons in it. And then the moment they discover the weapons, all of a sudden they are being attacked, and it basically goes from there. These people are trying to figure out, why am I being attacked, how to escape, how to survive, etc., etc. And that's really the whole movie. It really just kind of, you follow all these different people trying to escape. We're trying to figure out who is being hunted, who is the who are the people who are hunting them, why is it happening, and then the story obviously unfolds. And overall, I actually have to say that I really enjoyed this movie. It is a satire. I think some of the humor was a little too goofy for me, to where I would say they could have left it out, but I think they had to do that to make sure that people understand that this is a satire. It's not meant to be serious, because it does have a very strong underlying message. Right, so I would say overall I would give this like a 4 out of 5 star, and I would definitely recommend people watch it and think about the aspect of it that is not the plot. If you're just wanting to watch something that is gory and a lot of blood and shooting and a lot of twists and turns and a lot of things happening that you probably wouldn't expect in terms of who dies and who lives, you can also enjoy the movie for that. But I do think it carries a stronger message, and that is more what I want to talk about. So if you're not into spoilers, if you don't want any more, no more, go away. If you're here and you're willing to listen to political talk, then please stick around. Okay, so basically during the course of the movie, what we find out is that the people who are being hunted is what we would in this day and age refer to as conservatives, or maybe Republican people in the US, and the people who are doing the hunting are liberals or Democrats. All right, and basically the idea is that these liberal, what in the movie are referred to elites, liberal elites, gather up these people that they feel are offensive to modern times in terms of their conservative thinking, pushing, not being open-minded to gay rights, not being open to trans rights, not being open to being pro-life, etc., and all of these things that I guess are the opposite stances of the Democratic or Liberal Party. And it's kind of a spoof on itself, because and the person who wrote the script, the director, whose name I don't know, sorry, he was clever in the fact that it's actually kind of hilarious, and this is one of the first parts that I want to talk about, is the fact that in this movie the liberals are killing and hunting the conservatives when they are kind of trying to show themselves as being the platform of being non-judgmental, of being open-minded, being anti-gun, being anti-assault rifles, etc., and then they turn around and do all these things, is one of the first things I think they really try to show as a hypocrisy and a funny aspect of this movie. As a quick disclaimer, do I think really that liberals are more hateful than conservatives? No, I don't think so at all. I know that I generally critique liberals more on my channel, but that's mostly because as a gay man, I am supposed to be a liberal. It's kind of just expected of me. And the same way that I tend to have a critical view of the gay community because I am a part of it and I feel like problems should be, fixed internally, I also am more critical of liberals because that is kind of the party that I'm expected to be part of. But do I think that liberals are more hateful than conservatives? No. I think once you go to the very far left or the very far right, you're going to find very judgmental and hateful people who aren't open to anything the other side might say. So, um, this movie gets a lot of critique in terms of the fact that it's kind of painting as liberals in a very, very negative light, and it's very like liberals are bad people. And I think that's kind of the part of the satire, because the liberal platform is that they are so caring and empathetic and open-minded and all this kind of stuff. So I think that was kind of an important aspect of the movie, but that was not even so much the part of the movie that I found really interesting. What I think the director did, and this is probably the most important part of the video for me in terms of what I really would like feedback on. One of the things that I've said so many times on my channel is that one of my main problems with the Liberal Party is I think they eat themselves, because you can never ever be politically correct enough. No matter how left or liberal you try to be, it will never be enough for somebody not to turn around and then be like, no, you're this, you're that, you're not open-minded enough. So what am I trying to say here? If you watch the movie, there's all these little things where the hunters are maybe in groups, and they are having conversations, and they are constantly bickering amongst each other because they're just not liberal and left enough. So one of the first examples is a man and a woman, and the man says something like, referring to black people, he says something like, well, this conservative guy, he deserved to die because he probably, didn't think that those people are equal to us. And the woman goes like, those people? And he's kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I mean black people. And then she's like, black people? You can't say black people, you have to say African American. And and then they kind of even get into a little fight amongst each other, because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just killed somebody for potentially being a racist, but I'm still not left enough to not be criticized. So that was like one example. Another example was, there was a time when they were all like a group of them were sitting together, and it was like 5 men and 1 woman, and one of the guys says something like, I just said it myself. He says, hey, you guys, I think we should do this. And then the woman is all like, how dare you say guys? How dare you? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use gendered language. And they kind of have a bickering fest, and because how offensive, because she's a woman, and how could he have said guys? And then the part that I thought was, for me, the most spot on was they had like a flashback where all of the liberal people were sitting together in somebody's living room planning on who they were going to catch to be the hunted, and they're all sitting around and talking, and one of them comes in and he's wearing like a kimono pajama, and all of them are just like, oh, how dare you, how can you wear a kimono pajama, that's cultural appropriation, you should be ashamed of yourself, all this kind of stuff. I just was like sitting there, I was like, this is so spot on. And this, more than anything, is I think one of the reasons why I really want people to watch this movie. I really, my takeaway was like, this is so exactly how I see leftism in the world right now. You can do everything correct, and then you have one point where they don't agree with, and they will eat you up. And it is just complete infighting, because you can never ever be left enough. You can never ever be open-minded enough. I just gave up. The thing is, like, I don't even try. I'm not in any way, shape, or form even trying to be acceptable or good or fun to the left or to the liberals, because I know for a fact that there's just no winning with them. Like, why even try? There's no winning. I made a video where I talked about You know, I have 3 things where I'm very liberal. I have 3 things where I'm more conservative. Do you know that a single conservative viewer of mine called me out on the things where I'm liberal? Not one negative comment about the things where I said that I was liberal, but non-stop negative comments from the liberal people about the things where I'm conservative. And that to me is just like, it's just like, yeah, that's the cherry right on top, so it's like this is why I think the liberal platform is always destined to fail, because the platform in and of itself doesn't make sense. You will never find a people who are okay with everything. You just can't find it. We have too many nuances in our morals and in our ethics and the way in our culture, the way we were brought up, to get a group of a whole bunch of people to just be okay with everything. It just doesn't work. And it's, so I would love it if people took the time to watch this movie, thought about it, came back to here, then left comments. Did you enjoy the movie? Did you feel that it was an appropriate satire? Did you feel that the political story that was being told is accurate or inaccurate? If you are liberal or left, I don't know if there's any left at this point. I think I had like a mass exodus within the last 3 months of people going like, oh my god, this guy, he's not left, oh my god. So I don't know if I have any liberal people left watching my channel who will comment on this, but if I do, I would love your input. Even if you don't want to watch the movie, what do you think of this video? Kelly, I've been trying to get you to email me. Maybe you don't see that I've been responding to. I really would like Kelly's input. I would really like Bareback's input. I haven't heard from him in a while. He always leaves good feedback, generally not in my favor. Who else's feedback would I really like? I really would like Song's feedback. He always leaves good feedback as well. Yeah, so let me know. Watch the movie, and feedback, comments, email, and I'll talk to you guys later. And take care and be safe. It's crazy times we're living in, so keep yourself safe. Okay, bye.